Audio Jungle. A majority of us have been there, whether with our families or on school field trips. Some see it as beautiful and beneficial, and others view it as mistreatment. Hi, I'm Macy Rockfist.
And I'm Talia Bonfi, and welcome back to G.O.D. News.
Today we are exploring the controversial topic of zoos in the United States. Should zoos be a thing of the past? There have been many tragedies throughout the United States regarding zoos in the past 2 decades, sometimes sparking countrywide debates as to whether or not zoos are a safe environment for these animals.
Some, however, choose to look at the positive benefits zoos have on animals. There are lots of pros and cons to be considered. There have been many major changes in the way zoos operate and care for their animals.
Considering the many horror stories we have heard about zoos, however, the question remains, are these changes enough?
In order to answer these difficult questions regarding animal mistreatment, many Christians have turned to the Bible, some adapting traditional Christian views, and others utilizing a more modern approach.
Zookeeper Hannah Bird from Central Park Zoo and animal rights advocate Allie Borgstrom have both led us into their workplace, shedding light on both perspectives. Let's take a look. I'm here with Head of Zoo Operations for the Central Park Zoo, Hannah Bird. Thank you for having us here, Hannah.
Thank you for being here. The workers and animals are very happy to have you here.
Lately, there's been a lot of controversy regarding zoos. Considering a zoo of your size, I imagine you take a lot of heat from those who fight for animal rights. How do you respond to such comments?
Well, I think it's very important to remember that we're ultimately working towards the same goal of helping the animals. I too have dedicated my life towards benefiting as many animals as possible, and I enjoy my job very much. Like almost everything in the world, there's going to be bad zoos or exhibits that exist, but not all animals are kept perfectly, and even in the good cases, there's still room for improvement. But the overall concept of zoos are worthwhile institutions. In my opinion, there just needs to be more attention paid to the bad zoos, and we need to work together towards improving or closing them.
A popular theological argument against this type of institution is that zoos are disregarding the concern of the health and prosperity for God's creation. In what ways are you able to fight against this critique?
Well, in my opinion, I see zoos doing the complete opposite and actually caring for and working to protect the health and prosperity of God's creation. Health benefits to the animals include proper nutrition, guaranteed meal, which 2 things are not certain in the wild. With expert veterinarians on staff, we can also ensure care for injuries and emergencies, which may have otherwise resulted in death in the wild.
According to many modern Christian views, humans have a responsibility to protect all of God's creation that are weaker than us. Do you find that in capturing animals fulfills that responsibility?
Absolutely. With poachers out hunting these wild animals and endangered species for their skin, bones, tusks, etc., our zoos provide a better chance of survival for these animals. In addition, diseases, pollution, destruction of their habitats, overpredation, and more serve as reasons that these animals might otherwise have a difficult time surviving on their own in the wild.
There are a lot of questions and concerns regarding how you capture these animals and how you decide which ones to acquire. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, I'd love to. You see, captive breeding programs have very strict regulations and are implemented in order to help preserve animals that are moving towards endangerment or extinction. These regulations include regular checkups on animals and strict procedures if you were to acquire a new species. A good number of species exist only in captivity, and many others exist in the wild only because they have been reintroduced from zoos. Overall, this benefits not only the species itself, but the ecosystem as well.
It's also well known that some of these animals are used to further advance human scientific knowledge. How do you defend this as ethical?
Well, modern zoos and aquariums offer awesome education and research opportunities that wouldn't be possible elsewhere. It allows for children to observe wild animals up close and ask questions or take tours to gain a better understanding and appreciation of the species themselves. They also benefit researchers and scientists who are able to perform studies or have the opportunity to look at animals closer, which results in better information and education and ultimately save more of them. Eventually, it allows for children, adults, and researchers to gain a better appreciation for wildlife and conservation efforts.
Well, it's been really awesome speaking with you today, Hannah, and we really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come out here. I hope it was informative and worthwhile.
Wonderful interview with Hannah Bird. You could tell she is very passionate about what she does.
It was awesome to see Hannah interact with the animals she cares so much about. They seem to be drawn to her.
On the other hand, I was able to meet up with animal rights activist Allie Borgstrom from the Animal Legal Defense Headquarters, a nonprofit organization that defends animals' rights, and we were able to understand a little bit more about what they are all about.
Let's check it out.
Hi, Allie. Thank you for meeting with us today. We appreciate you letting us in to learn more about your organization.
Thanks for being here. We're excited to share with you.
Zoos often defend their beneficial interference with natural selection. How do you view this interference and why?
With regards to natural selection, we need to ask ourselves if it is morally and ethically okay to interfere with natural selection.
Many people would say that zoos pose several risks that affect the animals. Can you tell us what some of these risks would be?
Because zoos are not an animal's natural environment, there are several risks posed for zoos in captivity. One of the main risks include the fact that animals in captivity severely restrict their natural behavior like flying, hunting, swimming, etc. Another factor that is at risk are the mental conditions of captive animals. When a wild animal transitions to captivity, there's tremendous stress in their adjustment period, which can lead to mental instability.
Ancient theologians often argue that God created animals for the use of human beings. Therefore, we are entitled to use them as we want due to their lack of moral conscience. As an animal activist for animal rights, how do you defend the moral rights of animals?
We do not have the right to breed, capture, and confine animals into captivity. Being a member of an endangered species doesn't mean the individual animals have fewer rights.
Do you believe that animals behave differently when placed in a zoo? What are some of the personality and behavior differences you notice between animals in zoos and wild animals?
Yes, as I stated earlier, when animals are brought from the wild to captivity, there's a long adjustment period that can lead to depression, stress, and emotional instability for the animals. Along with this, the natural behaviors of these wild animals are changed, which causes great concern.
The term conservation is used on both sides of the debate, where zookeepers tend to see it as a benefit to animals. Do you see conservation as a benefit?
One of the main ideas proponents of zoos argue is zoos' efforts to conserving the biodiversity of our ecosystem. I think this is a false claim that many zoo advocates argue for. For example, although according to Wild Association of Zoos and Animals, 29 of the 34 animal species classified as extinct in the wild are still bred in captivity. Although this is the case, the efforts by zoos are almost pointless. If captive bred animals are returned to the wild, they will not survive. Also, many of these animals will not have native homes to go home to due to the human-made ecological crisis that we have created.
Well, there you have it. Allie, thank you so much for your time today and for your information.
So, thank you so much for your time. I hope the information I provided was helpful and useful.
Still a controversial topic in the United States, it seems that the differing opinions on zoos will remain for quite some time.
Whether you find the zoos a sanctuary or a hazardous home, we can all agree it is important to defend these beautiful creatures.
Well, thank you for signing on, and we always appreciate your company.
See you next time on G.O.D. News.